Welcome, welcome to the Rise Above the Grind podcast. I am your hostess, the Consultress, bringing you awesome conversations in this age of disruption where everybody's redefining what it means to be productive, prosperous, and happy. But we are demolishing the myth of what it means to grind ourselves into a pulp, because hustle and grind culture may or may not suit you for bringing yourself into a place of integration of doing business and being who you're meant to be. So, Sophia, thank you so much for joining us here today. I am excited to have this conversation with you. Welcome back to the States.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Right on. So, tell us a little bit about your definition of what grinding means.
Yeah, so grinding, taking aside the positive and negative definitions of it, it just means that you're focusing on whatever it is that you're working on your goal and removing all the distractions, just 100% on the grind, paying attention to that. And then you can get into, are you working smart or harder?
Right on. Okay, so I love your framing of that. It's focused effort. So, when you put coffee beans into a grinder, they're not there to have a party. They're there to become coffee grounds. Also, this now I heard you say there's a positive and there's negative connotations. So I feel like hustle and grind culture as a rule was meant to glorify yes, that focus and the fact that you are very concentrated in your efforts. So can you pull apart for me kind of what the connotations can mean? And we'll take the conversation from there into kind of how that's shown up along your entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah, I think grind was a term from any era after millennials, right? So for X, boomers, things like that. If there's anything left over in millennials, Gen Z, or Alpha, it's just latent. So it was the working harder, and it was the pride and the ego that's like, oh, look how hard I'm working. And what I think that Gen Z and Gen Alpha has right is it's working smarter. And they don't even bother calling it the grind. It's just like, hey, this is the fun thing that I get to do for a couple hours before I go, wind sail.
Yeah, living life while working. I also find that ego around look at me how hard I'm working is also reticent of the industrial age of working, where you sit down, shut up, and behave. You don't ask questions, you don't innovate, you don't create, you become part of the machine. And for me, in part of what I'm doing in my work is helping people to see that doesn't have to be your context, right? Whether you're, Gen Alpha, where my kids are like, what's our generation? I'm like, I don't know. I'm cusp millennial and Gen X. I'm like, I was born with the heart of a hippie and the head of a computer, apparently. So somewhere in there is my flavor of integration. But that industrial mentality around it is what it is kind of now up for debate. It is what it was. And what's coming is kind of the beauty of entrepreneurship, is the thing that we get to play with as emergent entrepreneurs and leaders. We get to solve the problems that are here today. And I love, so the name of your business, just bring us into what that emergent is for you and what you're kind of up to right now.
Yeah, so at Emergent AI, we have a focus about making AI accessible, specifically for the people that are they're either entrepreneurs already, so whether they're solopreneurs or they're small business owners, and the E2E revolution. So we're helping with that. And that's employees that see the writing on the wall, whether they were affected by Doge or they just see that AI is coming out for their job and they're making the transition to entrepreneurship. And so what we do is we work with clients, and you have different ways of working with us. If you're one of those people who are like, hey, I have whatever time I have, it's very limited, and I need to have something that's accessible to me at any time, that's the DIY, and you can work through and learn courses, and you can work with our bots that help you. If you're setting up a company, if you need to learn what company can I do based on my skills and my skill set. If you're an employee and you're like, I've never owned a company, where do I start? Go to that bot, and it can help you just pull out and extract all this information about your skill set, what you've done in the past, and then tell you what you could do. and it works with your budget, your time frame. So that's the DIY stuff. And if you're already up and running in a company, it tells you how to improve. Like it'll go through and look at your website and boost it. It'll look at all your copy. It'll help you with your social media. There's so many things that you can do with AI. And if you're wanting more a hands-on approach, but you want to learn, but you just want to learn like in a group, that would be the done with you. And then we have mastermind groups that move you faster, but together in a group. And then if you are like, I know I need this, don't have the time, I need somebody to actually do this for me, get me up and running, and then hand over the reins, that's the done for you. So we have the, wherever you sit, we can fit you in and get you up and running very quickly. And our focus is on the freedom trifecta and producing results. So we are looking to integrate AI wherever you're at. And the great thing about AI is it's customizable. Every company, every entrepreneur is going to be at a different position and going into a different industry, and it does not matter because AI can fit all of that. And the freedom trifecta is time, location, and money. So that's what we focus on producing.
Brilliant, because location freedom is sort of new to this world, a la the last 20 years, but specifically in the last 5 years. It's what enabled me to say my business is in fact majority in part online. And
Yeah.
so I just want to ask the question because so many people are like, and I'm going to just tell on myself a little bit, like there's AI for everything. I don't know where to look. I'm just not going to look. I have my assistant do that. You know, there's a few places
Yeah.
where I use it to support me, but what I heard is that there's this entire world out there for people who are looking to create a new business or to create a new stage in life, like their next act. And Emergent AI is helping that transition go from employee to entrepreneur. Because I mean, listen, I believe entrepreneurship saves the world because it's the grand pursuit of that I got to do all my personal development, develop all of who I got to become because I had a reason to address those limiting beliefs. So when someone comes in to your trifecta of wanting freedom of time, location, and money, how do you help them first create that clarity? Because what I find with AI in general, or the conversation around it, is that it can literally apply to everything. So therefore, there's zero specificity for anything. How do you kind
Yeah.
of address that like mind knot of a problem?
Yeah, and that's one of our superpowers. I've got two superpowers. One, I can take something very technical and make it sound like English, like, oh, okay, that's what they meant. And then the other one is there is a tendency at this point in time for an overwhelm with AI, like you have just described. And so where do I start? Like, where do I start? And not like, where does everybody start? Where do I start? And that's a great thing about the customization of ChatGPT or AI, sorry, in general, is that everybody starts exactly where they're at and it's customizable. So we have a bot that actually starts you on and just asks you some general questions. And some of the questions are, where are you at and where do you want to go and how much time and what kind of budget are you starting with? And then that right there, and then it just starts to ask you questions and then gets you going very quickly. It's a very, very fast process.
And I love that it's quick, but I love that what's the word? It's curiosity based. So in order to develop these questions, to be able to like triage, where are you? What do you want? I want you to just like take me back in the time machine to some of your iterations in your entrepreneurial journey where you're like, I don't know what questions to ask. I don't know where I'm going. You know, how has that showed up along your path of creating business along the way and kind of adapting your approach?
Yeah. So there are some of the best business people, past and present, and AI is a culmination of all of them. So everything that is known, publicly known in our history, up to date, is now available in AI. So you have the best business partner, the best marketing agency, the best advertising agency. I mean, it fits into every single industry and position that there is. There isn't a position where I mean, people were like, oh, doctors, replaceable completely. Lawyers, same thing, replaceable. Who would want a human lawyer when a AI has every case law absolutely available to them in a moment's recall. Right now, CEOs are replaceable. They have a whole company running off of an AI CEO, and you can get a fractional CMO to do your marketing, your advertising at a fraction of the cost. So I look at all the stuff that I had to go through, and it doesn't even matter anymore. You don't need to even know what it is that you're building, working at. You have zero knowledge is needed on your end because you've got the ultimate business partner that is an expert in all those areas.
Right
It
on. So
just
tell me,
makes our past irrelevant.
I want to know, like, tell me a story, like, bring me into like a place where previous to AI, this is how it used to look. This is what we had to do.
Yeah.
This is how I had to build the business.
Yeah. Well, previous to AI, I would say that you needed to read volumes. I still do. And I still think that's important for our own personal critical thinking and knowledge and perception and all that stuff. And you would want to seek out mentors that could get you around the minefields. That's the faster way. So you'd go to something like Score, which I still recommend these things, but there's just something that can get you there way faster. And you would have to sit there and mind map everything out and figure out on your own, what's your niche, what's your company. You'd have to pay so many different companies to create your branding kit, your logo, your tagline, your mission, your vision. You'd have to go through so much, and it would take so much just to launch. On top of that, there was this whole sentiment that you and I come from, that you only have one shot at a first impression. And that, so everything, you waited until you were perfect to launch. And that is so not the case now. Again, with Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they're just like, in the millennials, they're just like, out is better than perfect. So just get it out and just get it out and build the plane while you're up in the air and fix it along the way and let it do the course corrections, let the market tell you, and then you just course correct. And everybody's expecting that, and they want that rawness. They want that authenticity. Back before, it was all about perfectionism. And if you weren't perfect, if you had some flaws, they're like, you're not credible. You're not professional enough. I don't want to do business with you. And they'd move on. Now it's the opposite. If they see you too perfect, they sniff it out in a second and cast you aside. And it's too manufactured for them, too processed.
It's the return to artisan. I love the sentiment that done is better than perfect, and unpacking that, part of what we're demolishing in our industrial age upbringing, our scholastics, our way of doing business, our way of kind of behaving as a society. We're unwinding some of these perceptions around, you have to be perfect, or you have to have something monumental. So wait until it's absolutely perfect, because once you launch it, then, that's your mark in the world, and you better have it all nailed. You're actually giving me some permission and some food for thought too, because some of our old habits die really hard. Like that, some of where that overwhelm feeling of there's too many options, I don't know what to choose, is like, I can't try it out, because if I try it out and people see that I've made a mistake, then I'm ruined forever. Like this iteration and this acceleration in using AI tools does help to kind of unwind and untangle the pursuit of perfection. And when you have those entrepreneurs that have been doing it business as it's been done forever, and that are afraid to take some of these leaps, it isn't just people coming from the employee space into the entrepreneurship space. It's training old dogs to do new tricks, because now we have so much technology that can help to create that pivot in a shorter amount of time that isn't as permanent. Like, how cool is that it doesn't have to be the thought that everything's permanent, and that iterations are now expected and encouraged.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
The
in the,
fastest growing segment of population of multimillionaires is between the ages of 14 to 28. And there's several reasons why, but some of the major reasons is they don't have our hangups, right? They don't know that they can't do things, and so they just go and do them, right? They don't have their intellect and bruises to try to overcome. And we can learn a lot from that, right? We can just learn to just go out. The whole fear of looking good comes from our era of the perfection, right? Like, oh, people are going to know that I'm not prepared, or that, you know,
that I don't
the
have
thing where you think
everything
that,
figured out. Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
nobody does. And I mean, I hope you see, the older you get, nobody ever does. Nobody has it figured out. You
Yeah.
just got to move.
That's what,
and
like,
course correct along the way.
when I went from my 20s to my 30s, I'm like, whew, okay, well, I can just do my thing, and like I feel empowered. And then from 30s to 40s, I was like, why was I worried about what everybody else was perceiving, or like that yourself, your identity and your self-concept becomes
Mhm.
more solidified over time. And I love that our upcoming generations are solidifying theirs as fluidity, that things do change. There is no assumption like set it, forget it, behave, sit down, shut up. It's like everything's always in flux, man. So as things emerge, new solutions will come and new problems will emerge. So there's always going to be room for value. Like it's almost like technology gets to influence us and make us remember that abundance is everywhere. That like collaboration is the new way to determine your value in the marketplace. It doesn't have to be everybody's doing what I'm doing. So I am so appreciative for you to come here with this like mind-blowing expansion conversation and business model to show what's possible. So we're going to go here to our studio audience in just a moment. But for those listeners, stay on the line. We have another episode queued right up for you after this. Where can people go to find you, Sophia?
So they can go to emergentaillc.com. And the bot is right there. Where do I start? Just click it. It's free. Just get yourself going. No excuses. And that is one thing that AI has eliminated is there's no excuses. Don't know what to do next. Don't know how to do it. You just ask. You just ask AI. You just let it know. I don't know what I need to do. This is where I want to get to. How do I get there? And then it breaks down every step with you.
I love it. You heard it here. There's a resource for you, whether you're going from employee to entrepreneur or you're going from your old style to your new style. It is possible for old dogs to learn new tricks. We're here live and we're going to go bat this around the batting cage here in our live studio audience. If that is something that you want to come and participate in, find me on social at Consultress and send me a DM so you can come do this and workshop with us here live. Thanks a million, and we'll see you in the next episode.